I think we all have at least one game that we played obsessively when we were a kid, against the odds. And let me clarify what I mean by that. I'm not talking about underrated or under-advertised gems, because usually when you mention one of those, you get at least one or two people in the room, or forum, or chat who go, yeah,
I'd die for that game.
and not, you like Pokemon Channel. So yeah, Pokemon Channel was one of those games for me, and in spite of all the it gets, I have genuinely fond memories of playing it. I mean, sure, it wasn't the most exciting or replayable game on the GameCube, but it had that unique Pokemon charm all the same. Or at least I thought so. So let's take another look and see if I still think so. Boot up the game, confirm that the time your system provides it with is correct, and it starts off with some Magnemite delivering you a TV. A Pokemon Channel TV, more specifically, and Pokemon Channel, while also being the title of the game, is a TV station that, according to Professor Oak, airs many kinds of Pokemon-related programs. I'd like to think that in the Pokemon world, a good portion of all TV programs will be Pokemon related in some way. I mean, pretty much every person you meet in the mainline series of games and anime is all about Pokemon, regardless of their age, personality, and profession. So stating that it airs many kinds of Pokemon programs is kind of non-specific and I think a little bit redundant. Also, why the heck did they have Magnemite deliver the TV? Aren't magnets supposed to be bad for TVs? And what would have happened if they dropped it from where they were floating like 50 feet in the air? They could have just as easily sent some heavy lifting Pokemon over. This game literally came out in the Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald era where Machoke movers were a thing. But I guess we're not here to argue with the narrative, or a guy with a PhD's shipping methods. We're here because we were chosen to be the station's first ever test audience. Wow, me? Some kid who lives out in the middle of nowhere and has absolutely no credible experience as a media critic whatsoever? And I'm getting paid to do it? Okay, cool. Enter your name, press OK, and let's watch anime. No, really, that's your first task. Watch this cute little animated short starring the Pichu brothers and their pals from the other animated short that played in theaters before Pokemon the Movie 3. Did I mention that this game is pretty easygoing? Once you've finished the short, Professor Oak asks you to file a report based on your experience, which is essentially the game's save feature, and gives you a short tutorial that teaches you how to work your TV. This tutorial is interrupted in the middle by a from just outside your sliding door. So you go to investigate, and what do you know? It's Pikachu! A well-known celebrity. While the professor is marveling at how rare of an occurrence it is for a wild Pikachu to enter a person's home, it's totally not because we're the protagonist or anything. He decides it must have been because they're curious about television. He also decides to include them in this whole process. Pokemon Channel is for Pokemon too, so it makes sense that a Pikachu's reaction to the programs you're watching should matter in some way. Then he continues on with his spiel, introducing you to your Pokepad, which is basically a diary, TV guide, and a record of everything you've collected in the game all in one. It updates as you unlock TV programs, buy and do new things, and as you might expect, most of these things revolve around Pikachu. But that's probably pretty true to life. If I had a pet that I loved as much as Pikachu, I would also update my blog whenever they so much as sneezed. And that's pretty much it for the game's tutorial. We can finally get around to scoping out these programs. So, what are we going to watch with Pikachu first? Well, we've got some options, but I've got my eye on the Hot Gossip channel, otherwise known as the Pokemon Newsflash channel. Let's see what's been up.
I'm here on the scene. I see. And there you have it. That ends my report from the scene.
What did I tell you? Gossip. Oh look, here's some more. Wait, what? Pikachu? Pikachu, what are you doing? Pikachu? Pikachu, no, we just got that TV. Well, okay. That wasn't as destructive of an outcome as I was expecting. I guess that's fine. Are you okay though, Pikachu? You kind of body slammed a hunk of glass, like a really thick hunk of glass. Alrighty, we got a trooper on our hands. Good thing, too, because we've still got like 3 more channels to screen before the day is done. Out of those 3, Pikachu is saying that they want to watch the shopping channel first, so I guess we'll go ahead and do that. It's at this very early point in the game that you realize Pikachu will be the one taking the most, if not all, of the initiative, which isn't a huge deal as far as I'm concerned. I get choice paralysis and all. And though you are Pikachu's slave, Pikachu, too, is a slave to capitalism. Seriously, I don't know about anybody else's Pikachu, but the shopping channel is one of my Pikachu's favorite channels. They're constantly asking me to watch it with them, even when we have little to no money to spend. But I guess that's not as much of a problem in a world where lifetime use bus passes cost $10. And they're out for instant delivery? Boy, do I wish that was true to life. Bus passes aren't the only things you can buy through the Shop and Squirtle channel. You can also buy different kinds of decorations for your room, including dolls, wallpaper skins that replace your default one, and posters, all of which are interactable to a degree and add a lot of charm to the environment. As the game progresses and you unlock the features that allow for them, you can even buy new TVs, some of which are smaller, larger, and have different special effects, booster packs of Pokemon Channel's own spin on the Pokemon trading card game, and appropriately named Pokemon mini cartridges, which allow you to emulate all sorts of mini games in the corner of your character's room. I never owned one personally, but the in-game Pokemon mini console is based on real handhelds that Nintendo released between 2001 and 2002, so it's pretty cool that they got a second chance to shine. The games themselves are also pretty fun to play. Full disclosure, though, I have trigger fingers and am not very good at any of them. Snorlax's lunchtime in particular might have even scarred me for life. Then there's the fitness channel, Smooch'em Shape Up, which tries to engage you in different types of exercise routines in short bursts. I remember participating with Pikachu when I was a kid pretty fondly, but, seeing as my body is even more spindly and weak than it used to be when I was 10, and I had a rough shift at work the day prior to recording this, I passed this time around. I did feel a little guilty having Pikachu ask me to play along and sitting dead in my seat some of the other times we watched the program, but I'm sure they understand. Lastly, you have the quiz channel, which simulates an anticlimactic quiz show with various different Pokemon as contestants and a Wobbuffet as a host. It's anticlimactic because the AIs are programmed to perform so randomly that more times than not, there just won't be a winner. The quiz questions themselves all revolve around guessing the name of a Pokemon based on a silhouette, a cry, or a brief glimpse of their appearance. As the player, you also have a couple of different opportunities to participate, and assuming you or Pikachu actually get the questions right, you can score yourself some money to spend on Shop and Squirtle. Quiz Wobbuffet also happens to be the final program that you're expected to watch to progress beyond your first day of gameplay. After that point, you're supposed to save your progress, quit playing, and turn it on again the next day to watch the new ones that you've unlocked. The entire game is actually structured in this way, and I'd describe it as being similar to how dailies function in modern mobile apps and even some browser-based games. You play the game, do a set number of tasks, and then you're rewarded. sometimes with even more tasks. After that, you walk away and return to do it all again after some real-world time has passed, usually 24 hours or whatever amount of time you have left prior to the hour that the server resets. Some of the other programs you can unlock as you keep returning to the game include a forecast channel that exists to allow you to manipulate the weather in-game, the egg and counting channels, which serve pretty similar functions to Quiz Wobbuffet in that they're little guessing games that let you grind revenue, a fortune cookie channel that generates fortune cookie-esque advice for you once per day, a ranking channel that I don't understand. Seriously, is that good or bad? 29 points out of what? I just don't get it. I don't get it. And last but not least, an art channel. This channel adds a little more functionality to a feature that you unlock early on called the Smeargle 2. It being called the Smeargle 2 implies that there's also a Smeargle 1 in existence, but it's never mentioned, so I guess we're not supposed to think about it. What the Smeargle 2 does is allow you to take screen caps of 2D programs on your TV's screen, like the Pichu Brothers shorts, for example, or the eye catches of different Pokémon that act as transitions between the programs. Then you can color your screen caps full-on paint style. You've got your paint bucket tool, your crayon tool, your eraser, and you're good to go. I've never seen anybody create a masterpiece with this, probably because my friends and I were all really bad at it, and also 10, and coloring in the lines with a GameCube controller is really hard, and for some reason some of the sound effects are really jarring and loud and kind of disconcerting. But it is cute and fun to play around with, especially if coloring book type activities are a good de-stressor for you. You can only keep one of your pictures on display in your room at a time, and whenever you decide to color a new screen cap, you have to get rid of the old one. But the good news is that the old one gets promoted on the art channel and then sold. Not sure who in the world will want to buy something like this and keep it, aside from me, I mean, but if you're going to be playing around with a Smeargle 2 anyway, it's not bad to get a little extra currency out of the deal. I've been talking about Pokemon Channel for a while now, but aside from that time I mentioned that you can buy bus passes, I haven't really talked about the fact that you can go outside. You are not, in fact, confined to your room for all eternity. Unless Pikachu decides you are, but hey, it's Pikachu's world, we're just living in it. Yeah, though, assuming Pikachu is cool with it, you can explore the world around you, from your backyard to some cursed ruins you found on a snowy mountaintop. There isn't as much you can do to influence the environment as you can inside, but there are cute little events that you can trigger in each area, some of which can only be triggered once, daily, or under certain circumstances, like finding a 4-leaf clover, building a snowman, camping out with Jirachi and the Hoenn starters, or watering a seed in your garden every day to grow a giant flower that spits out a fruit. Like, one fruit? I don't know. These events are where the game really shines, in my opinion. The Pokemon you encounter while you're out wandering around, who have a similar system of only appearing at certain times of day or in certain weather conditions, will quiz you and gift you with a card for your collection if you answer correctly. Most of the questions aren't all that hard, especially if you're as big on reading Pokedex entries as I am. Or, have an FAQ open on your phone because you're old and can't keep track anymore. Whichever, like, whatever you gotta do. And that's pretty much it. You hang out in your room with Pikachu, watch TV with Pikachu, collect Pokemon cards with Pikachu, ride public transit with Pikachu, apply to college with Pikachu, take an Italian class with Pikachu, get involved in a weird clique with Pikachu, start a small business with Pikachu, live out the rest of your life in relative comfort with okay, I think I'm, projecting my deepest hopes and desires a little here. But you get the point, and there really is something similar to an affection system in-game. Pikachu is a bit wary of you when you first meet them. Having their name called will startle them, and they'll always keep a certain degree of distance. But the more you play, the more they'll warm up to you. They'll allow you to pet them, nickname them, and eventually they even move in with you. Without your permission, but, why would you ever say no? All of these details might sound tiny and insignificant, but in my opinion, having a progression in your relationship with your virtual pets or animal companions in any virtual pet or animal companion game is really important to the experience. So, all in all, how do I feel about Pokémon Channel after playing it again for almost 13 years after I played it for the first time? I didn't talk about this at all in this video, but I feel like as a spiritual successor to Hey You Pikachu, it did a lot of things right by improving upon and breathing fresh life into a concept that was otherwise muddied by old hardware limitations. I'm looking at you, Nintendo 64's voice recognition unit. I also feel like a lot of the flack it gets is due to its nature of being a Pokemon spin-off that has almost no similarity in style of gameplay to the mainline games. I mean, think about it. Which older Pokemon spin-offs outside of the oddball one-hit wonders like Pokemon Snap are the most popular overall? If you were to ask me, I'd say the Mystery Dungeon series is a big contender. It's gotten enough installments to suggest as much, and I'm sure there are a lot of factors that contribute towards that. The Mystery Dungeon formula is awesome on its own. Combine it with something as well-known and well-loved as Pokemon, and it's even better. But I'm willing to bet at least one of those contributing factors is that it's rooted in exploration, monster collection, and turn-based combat, just like main series Pokemon fans have come to expect. When you stop comparing a game like Pokemon Channel to the games that don't function anything like it, you might find that it's not as bad as you were hyping it up to be. And I don't think that's just my nostalgia speaking. Sure, if you wanted to get a mellow and relaxing experience out of a home console video game, you might prefer to play something like Animal Crossing or a low-key Harvest Moon, and I feel the exact same way. But standalone, completely standalone, Pokemon Channel is cute, it feels homey, and most importantly, Pikachu is there. How can you possibly top that? So Pokemon Channel is definitely not a bad game. It's just a very simple game. The kind of game that you think of when you think of App Store games nowadays. I know tons of people who would play the heck out of a $5 Pokemon Channel mobile. So I guess instead of calling it inadequate or uninvolved, it'd be way better to say it came way before its time and single-handedly paved the way for the modern casual handheld market. What? I'm being serious. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching my very first review-esque video. This wasn't my first time editing or writing something like this, but it was my first time recording my voice, so hopefully I get more used to that over time. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, feel free to subscribe. I have a Patreon, a Twitch stream, and some other social media accounts up too, so if you're interested in those, you can click through the links on screen or the links in the description below. Thanks again, and see you next time!